Hello and welcome to Module 3. So we are kind of flying through, and I know that many of you are frustrated that you have not been able to start your observations, but thankfully I am starting to get the placements in, and as soon as I get them, I forward them to you. So please make sure that you're checking your email regularly, especially if you have not heard from me yet. But normally what happens is the HR department will send me an email that has all the information about who your cooperating teacher is going to be, what school you're going to be at, and so I forward it to you, which means you may need to scroll down to see the information that's on there. Just remember that if you have been assigned to a school or a teacher, it is your responsibility to make contact with them, to make sure that you set up times that are convenient for them, and also recognize that there's not a lot of flexibility during the summer. So if you happen to get a placement and you were hoping for someplace else, I can promise you that they are probably not going to change. So you may just have to go with what they have given you. It does appear as though they have tried their hardest to give you what you have requested, but because summer school does not take place at every single school in the city, sometimes you just kind of have to go with whatever they have. So most summer school is going to be starting in a couple of weeks, and so you will have ample time to be able to get your hours done. And remember that if you have not been able to start observations yet, I obviously do not expect that you will have started any of your journals yet, and that's why there's a rolling deadline. Basically, as long as they are all done by the end of the course, then you're going to be fine. So as we're moving into Module 3, you're going to find that the next couple of modules really get into the practical side of teaching. And so the next 2 weeks, we're going to be focusing on Module 3, which is really talking about teacher effectiveness. It's talking about who we're seeing in the schools, so the different groups of students that we're seeing, as well as legal and ethical issues. So when you go into Module 3, remember that this first resource here is kind of everything that you need to have and an introduction to the different chapters. So when you click on here, you're going to find your objectives, but then for the different chapters, I've actually taken it straight from the publisher so that you can see this is what's covered in these chapters. So there are 4 chapters that you're going to be looking at, chapters 3, 4, 6, and 8. And so hopefully what you're going to find with this particular module is that this is the stuff that really is going to be able to be applied immediately, and I think that's really important. So just don't forget that that first page is always there for you, just to kind of give you an introduction. So again, here's the PowerPoints for chapters 3, 4, 6, and 8. And here are some additional resources for you that I think will kind of help you put the information from those chapters into perspective. So I've got a couple of things about ethical considerations, and then of course my daughter Malala. Hopefully you're already familiar with her, but again, just kind of insight into what's happening in our schools and just kind of what we're seeing in students in general. So a couple of assignments for Module 3, nothing that's really heavy. You do have another discussion board, and this is where you're going to be looking at different ethical situations in the classroom so that you can kind of think through them. So when you click on that, you're going to find that you're going to choose one of the ethical dilemmas that I've presented, and you're just going to kind of go through. There is the code of ethics that is part of your resources. You're going to kind of want to go through it and say, this is how I would deal with it, and this is why. It's really helpful to be able to defend why you've done something, because there is a valuable document like a code of ethics that's available for you. So make sure that you have that. So that's your discussion. So make sure that you post and respond to at least 2 of your classmates by the end of this module. I put your journals here again, simply so that it's easy access for you. But again, please remember that if you're not in the classroom, you can't do these yet anyways. But I do try and set up the course so that you can find things easily. The only other true assignment that you have for this module is going to be a revision of your teaching philosophy. Um, Basically, what you're going to be doing is taking what you did the first time, taking any feedback that I gave to you, but then you're going to want to find ways that you can edit, revise, add to, take away from what you originally had. Now, if you have not been able to go into the classroom yet, you're not going to be able to add anything that you've seen. But there have been so many videos and resources and the textbook that at this point you should be able to add to and or completely change what you had the first time. Remember, I told you that when you did your first draft, really I didn't want you going out looking for information. I just wanted your personal opinion about each of those different topics. Now we need to beef it up so that there's some meat behind what your opinion is. We want to be able to defend it. So you have several different ways that you can do this. You can, with your original draft, you can insert comments in the margins where you want to make some changes. And it can be something as simple as, you know, add this quote from page 45, or add in what I saw in the classroom. But there should be at least 10 things at this point that you're going to want to change. It can even be something as simple as I need to fix this incomplete sentence. But somehow you need to find a way that we're going to start making this a little bit more professional. So you can either put margins in the side, or you can just kind of create a checklist. You can do it in Microsoft Word. You can type directly into the submission box that just says, these are the things that I'm going to do. And so when you're done with that, then you're going to submit it. Make sure that you put it in the link that says second draft, because you don't want this to be counted as your final, because we're still going to be adding to it. So that truly is, besides the discussion board, the only real thing that you need to be working on. But hopefully sometime within this module, everyone will have had their placement and maybe even have the opportunity to go ahead and get into the classroom. So that's really it for Module 3, Exploring the Classroom Environment. So take the time to read through the chapters, the PowerPoints, view the different videos and the links that I've provided for you, and then just don't forget to do the discussion board and the second draft of your philosophy. So have a great time in Module 3. And so remember, this module is 2 weeks, and then we will be starting Module 4, which will be the longest of the modules. It'll be 3 weeks, but it is by far the most practical one that you're going to use. So have fun, and I will see you in Module 4.